Good afternoon. It is Thursday, October 30th, and this is Finding the Advaita in A Course in Miracles. This is where we read through the text of A Course in Miracles and we look for the non-dual pointers, which are there in every single section. Sometimes they're explicit and sometimes they're not so explicit, but sometimes they're pretty profoundly straight out. And when we don't find them, Melanie always brings us back uh, to the fact that it is non-dual and that there's only one of us here, and that while a course can be a progressive text, it really is ultimately speaking of oneness, which is what atonement is, which is what holiness is. It just uses Christian language to get us there. So what we're going to do this afternoon, we're looking this afternoon at healing and the changelessness of mind, which is on page 273 of the Purple Book, and it's section 4. And if anybody needs me to put that in the chat, I'm happy to do so. So again, page 273, I'll put it in the chat, and that way we can have it up there. Page 273. Sometimes people join us a little bit late and then they don't see what's in the chat, but I'd like to start out with a little bit of a meditation. Most of you know exactly where we're going. You've been here before. You know what this is, but it's always good to settle in and just remember in the body, in the mind, just in our being. So just get settled. Can keep your camera on or off. Just listen to what I say. I have no idea what I'm going to say. I only know one thing, and that is that I want to invite you to allow yourself to just relax. And whatever has arisen for you during the day, no matter what time zone you're in or where you are, just let it go in whatever way you usually do. So if it's using the breath, if it's finding the tight spot in the body and breathing into it, if it's feeling your feet on the floor, let your heart soften. And let your belly soften. And let your eyes soften. Let the brain soften. And now just notice that you're aware. It doesn't matter what you're aware of. Just notice something is aware. Could be your heartbeat. Could be your breath. And let this awareness become clear. Bring the awareness into the forefront. Allow yourself to notice whatever arises in your awareness, but stay aware of awareness itself. Most of us are familiar with this place, this space. We know this awareness has no boundary, no edge. Most of us know that we cannot remember when this awareness began. It has always been. And we have never experienced the end of this awareness. Even in deep sleep, if you think you're not aware in deep sleep, remember the last time you took a nap and told yourself you would awake in 10 minutes. And you did. Even if that nap was deep and delicious and completely unconscious. This awareness is difficult for the egoic mind because it doesn't contain any objects. There's no time, There's not even a name. There's no body, no identity. And yet, how familiar does this space feel? This awareness has never changed, not since you first caught a glimmer of it. It has not aged. It has not gotten an identity or lost an identity. It belongs to no identity. But it is certain. As we go through the reading today, stay in touch with this awareness. This is the changelessness of mind. There are no words that can truly describe it. So as we read through the words, let the feeling, the knowing, the certainty of this experience now inform you as you read the words, as you hear the words, as you ponder the words and experience the words. And so we begin because the impulse comes together. The quality of how we are together, how we talk. This is our gift to the world. The purpose of every gathering discovered. To recognize beauty and to love what is beautiful. Conversation rises out of every particle of being. It is all alive. Welcome to this empty table, a cleared space where something new can happen. When you take the hands of someone you love, what do those hands become? Let us take each other's hands now. Come back. Take a few breaths. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle, gentle with yourself. Mind, mind, the changelessness of mind. What does mind mean? Mind is a confusing term. It's used in many different ways in many different teachings. Rupert Spira describes mind as that attribute that thinks and perceives with the five senses. And he describes being as that which resides, which simply is, without words or definition. For others, mind can involve different levels or different abilities to be aware. Some speak of a higher mind or a lower mind. A Course in Miracles uses mind as, it's described as the activating agent of spirit. And the source of thought and creation. We heard today in the near-death experience that we all reviewed that mind is very creative. And A Course in Miracles describes split mind. So we have the mind that is God's mind and is in complete alignment with Source, and the mind that has split off. And the split mind then it has another aspect, which is the egoic mind, and then that part of the mind that still holds spirit and the voice of spirit within it. So just wanting to make that small point. The non-dual teachings say that mind is not separate, there's no individual entity, but that what appears as mind here is an expression, a unique expression of a single universal consciousness. So there's no talk about splits, right? But in the space where thoughts occur, and it seems that we have veiled ourselves to ourselves, that true reality, that mind that is connected to Source, that is Source mind, is always operating underneath. It is the foundation for everything. And A Course in Miracles, I think, would agree with that. So we can talk more about mind as we go on if we want to, but I want to just say there are 3 points to this section. The first is we're not the body. The second is we are mind. And the third is mind is changeless. Hence the title of this section, Mind is Changeless. So even in the title of this chapter, of this section, this is pointing directly to the non-dual teaching, the non-dual definition of what mind is, right? Changeless, one, and ever present. So let's look at the first paragraph here. And I'll just go through and say what I think the first paragraph is saying, and then we can talk about it. It's funny how the title of this is Healing in the Changelessness of Mind, but the first topic is the body. It goes right into the body, right? And it says the job of the body, if it can be called a job, is to provide a concept or a system for learning and developing abilities. That's the job of the body. That's the only thing the body is really for as far as A Course in Miracles is concerned. And so you might ask, what are these abilities for the body? But I would say the body is actually a vehicle for showing us what we are not. Right? The body is a constant reminder of what we are not. Right? But the unhealed mind confuses itself with the body, and it views the body as an independent agent of an independent mind. Right? And in this paragraph, the Christ consciousness is telling Helen that no one who thinks they are a healer can ever be one until they've healed their own mind. So this is why I'm sort of saying that this is talking to Helen, still Helen and Bill, as they practice their healing profession and reminding them, you can't heal anybody until you heal your own mind. It doesn't matter whether you have a medical degree from Columbia or a PhD. Those are useless to you in true healing. Right? Just useless. Right? The person on the corner who has never even been to formal schooling, but who has a healed mind is a better healer than someone who thinks they're a body. So then the second paragraph says, it says, I want to just draw attention to line 5 here in the first paragraph. It says, the Holy Spirit's decision to use the body only for communication has such a direct connection with healing that it does need clarification. So here it's talking about the body. It's talking about the body being for communication. And then in the second paragraph, it says only minds can communicate. Just want to point that out. Right? We could talk about that, but it seems to contradict it. So in the first paragraph, it says the Holy Spirit uses the body only for communication. And in the second paragraph, it says only minds can communicate. But is this a contradiction? Really? It isn't really, because the egoic mind believes that the body both communicates and creates. But the body is created. It doesn't create. So the body is totally unstable and inconsistent. So its use is limited. Healing has to be consistent and stable. So the ego will try to teach you that the body can act like the mind, and therefore it's self-sufficient. Right? I want to just draw your attention to sentence 4 in the second paragraph. We have learned that behavior is not the level for either learning or teaching. This must be so because you can act in accordance with what you do not believe. But this will weaken you as a teacher and as a learner, as has been repeatedly emphasized, because you teach what you do believe. An inconsistent lesson will be poorly taught and poorly learned. If you are teaching both sickness and healing, you are both a poor teacher and a poor learner. So this gets us back to last week. We said, if you see someone who is sick in the body and you confirm their sickness to them in both yourself and in them, then you are not healing them. You are confirming their sickness. We talked about this. But in the mind knows that the body is not sick. So even if you don't say anything to the person who is physically ill in the body, but you know them as whole, and you meet them as whole, and you interact with them and treat them as whole, that will be communicated, because that's the communication that is true. So here in this paragraph, it's taking it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges in a way. It's taking two things that don't seem like they mesh, but then transcending them both. It's basically telling Helen, heal your mind, because you can't heal a body until you heal your mind. And then it goes on. I want to just go into paragraph 3 here. And please stop me or put something in the chat if you have anything that you want to add. The first sentence in paragraph 3 says, healing is the one ability which everyone can develop and must develop if they are to be healed. So while bodies appear to be different with different attributes and capabilities, everyone is capable of healing because no one is truly a body. Minds can be healed and heal when the split mind is recognized and the egoic thought system is brought to light. So the second sentence says, healing is the Holy Spirit's form of communication and the only one it knows. Let's look at paragraph 4. Healing only strengthens. Healing only strengthens. How many times have you been to a physician's office and left feeling worse than when you came out? How many times have you been to a physician's office and left feeling like you were truly heard? And even if you still felt badly in the body, you felt that the physician had heard you and understood you and wanted to help you. And you left feeling hopeful and feeling better. This fourth paragraph sounds like it's really undermining the medical profession. And I don't think it's doing that so much as really calling it to task. So let's keep reading it. Healing only strengthens, magic only always tries to weaken. Healing perceives nothing in the healer that everyone else does not share with them. Magic always sees something special in the healer, which he believes or she believes they can offer as a gift to someone who does not have it. He may believe that this gift comes from God to him, but it is quite evident that he does not understand if God if he thinks he has something others do not. So this is really calling on Helen and Bill Thetford to remember that even though they have all the respect and all of the degrees on their wall, that if they don't see the other as themselves, they are not healing anyone and they are not healed. Right? I have been to energy workers who thought that they were giving me great energy. This doesn't just apply to Western medicine. Right? This applies to any healer that thinks they're going to raise your vibration for you or change your energy pattern. Right? If you don't know that they see you as themselves, then you might want to think again. That this is just saying healing only strengthens, right?
Is this taking off on what we did the other day, the treachery of specialness?
Say again.
Is this another advancement or enhancement of what we did the other day, the treachery of specialness?
The treachery of specialness?
Yeah, that was the topic. That was I think something we did.
Yeah, it is, Chuck. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Thank you for that reminder. Yep. I'm sorry, my hearing's going and sometimes I don't hear very well. Cindy, come on down.
You know how I like to bring it into well, this is what's happening in our life kind of circumstance. And as I'm listening, um, I'm just reminded of those days, the first couple of weeks after I came back from the intensive, right? Where all the symptoms of COVID were moving through the body. And there's a real feeling here that when I was just in the present moment and I was hanging, I was fine. Like I wasn't able to walk the way I like to walk every day. And I found that I ate half as much food or even less. And I was taking all these little naps and couldn't, like, the congestion was there, the headache was there, but none of it bothered me, right? It was just what was happening. And then I'd come into these rooms, us, and someone would look at me and say, "Man, you're sick. I can hear it in your voice." And the moment they said that, and I got it from a lot of different people in a lot of different places, I started to feel weak. And it was such an interesting experience. They'd say, "Man, you're really sick, and this one's sick, and why you don't have to," and it was a lot of people. It wasn't just one person, but it feels like it's what this is pointing to. When I was just in my space, I was actually even calling it an upgrade and an integration. And I was like, Emma was supposed to come over, and I said, I just don't want company. Like I wasn't labeling it. I was just being with it. But every time someone said to me, "You really sound sick. You're really sick. You really should," I started for a moment. And for a few days, I was defending it. I was like, "Don't you dare call me sick." But then I was like, well, that didn't help either. But really recognizing that. And even the other day, I was in a meeting and someone just projected onto me, and I got a little private message going, "Man, you look drained." And until she said that, I was feeling fine. And I'm reading that going, am I drained? It's such an interesting reminder to me how to be both with myself and how I'm labeling whatever's going on here, but also how I'm with other people in my world, you know? It would have been so much more useful for people to say, "How's this moment in your world?" Are you getting everything you want? Do you feel good? As opposed to literally looking at me going, man, you look sick, or you're definitely sick. Like, I don't know how many times I heard that, but isn't that what this chapter is inviting us not to do? Like, not label it, not call it.
I don't think so, Cindy. I don't see it that way. I think this chapter is speaking to Helen and Bill as healers, and it's telling them if you really want to heal, you have to be healed first. So, and the way that you heal is that you see yourself one with the other. And so I know from myself, when I said to you, you look like, or you sound like you don't feel well, that was caring. That was extending caring to you. For me, it was. It was me reaching out to someone who had just gotten back from pretty intensive time, whom I had missed, and I wanted to, it was kind of like going like this, to you. Like, oh, you know, um, it wouldn't have felt right to me to go, oh, she's fine. She's not really her body. She's doing fine. I'm not going to say a word to her. That would have felt like not natural for me.
For me, what is most useful, just in general, is so how are you doing in this moment?
Okay.
As opposed to, let me tell you how you're doing. I literally, and I'm just communicating that. And I wasn't even pointing, like I'm not speaking because you said it. I literally got it from a lot of different people. And what I'm communicating is that hearing that, like that feeling that others are looking at me and calling me sick, I started to feel, and I literally had to invest energy in stepping out and going, I'm taking care of the body, but I'm not owning the label of being like I felt.
That's fine. And that you're in a sense, what I'm sensing is you could ta have taken that care and concern and just gone, thank you so much.
I'm just
I thank you for that. I really appreciate it. The body's not doing well, but I appreciate what you're saying. Let's, it could be it could be taken with love because that's how it was given, was love.
I'm just communicating how it was received.
Okay.
I mean, I can't, we talk about there not being a doer.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know I was feeling fine. And it felt like, and again, I'm talking to lots of people. It was a very strange experience for me
Yeah.
to notice that I was feeling fine. I was taking care of the body. And when I was receiving that information from others, how I felt started to change. And then there was energy invested in shifting from that. So I'm just communicating from a non-doer, this is the experience. And it felt like knowing wholeness, knowing health, knowing that I'm well was where I was. And I'm still healing.
Yeah.
So I'm still taking information in from the world, and it hits the parts of me that believe the world is telling me how I'm doing. And it was an interesting experience. And I'm really just communicating my
Yeah.
experience with
And I can certainly see how your your way of communicating was much more neutral and would have allowed you to have defined your own experience.
yeah. Anyway, that's what was coming alive for me as I was standing and moving and feeling really good in the moment, and listening to the teaching. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank
I'll
you.
let other people speak now.
Okay. Carol and then Lonnie.
Hello, hi everyone. Great to be back.
Good
Um,
to have you.
that was a fantastic discussion. Wow. So good because it just goes to show, I guess, if we'd say, um, the non duality in this. that can be well hidden. There is only healing. There's only healing. Every experience, whether it comes through here as loving, and it's received with joy and warmth, or whether it's received with I don't know, fear or whatever, it's still healing, because it's all the same thing. It's all spirit. And as this says in the third paragraph, spirit can only communicate love. And so I know with the inquiry going on here, if I feel something that is jarring or that's causing some kind of suffering, then I'm probably getting identified with my body mind, with my mechanism, with thought processes that are being manifested from another body mind. And I'm just taking them on as, oh, that's what's happening. So it is all healing, because it's either love or a call for love, or it's presenting itself with love, or presenting itself with, take a look, you're misinterpreting something.
Very much.
And it's so incredible because the mechanisms just shift change all the time.
They do.
And it's
unbelievable.
beautiful. I know. And I mean, we even look at, the stories of the teachers and how same thing happens with them too. Like they freak out on a follower for a moment and then it goes, and it's like, we can't escape it, but we can just allow it and love it, because it's just what's happening. And either way, we get the prize, because either way, we're feeling pureness in the moment, or we're being reminded that it's there hidden and we can unravel it from the mixed up misidentification. So that, I just love that discussion from the two of you, because it just really helped to make sense out of some stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. Lonnie, what you got?
I have a million things going on, a million things coming in at me informationally. And now for some reason I'm settling here in this place of, I don't know where it came from years ago, but it was when I was going to grad school. And I think this speaks directly to what you read. I was getting ready to go to grad school and I was picking out counseling programs. And I kept saying out loud, even though I didn't fully understand what I was saying, I need a program where I can find all my ins and outs, because to be a good counselor, I need to know where all my shit is. So I need something that will let me learn and know what I need to know here, so that I don't put it out on somebody else. And then there was a long period of time where I was under a microscope. And there were a lot of people telling me, well, you are this and you are that, and you're feeling this and you're feeling that, with me saying nothing. And what it developed in me, that's a part of that. And it comes back to what I talked about last week, I think. The choice to not name, the choice to see it and be curious about it, but not to name it, And I found when I had the opportunity, the blessing of an opportunity to work with people, that there'd be times when somebody comes in and they're just whatever, that you could tell something's going on. And even then, just saying I can tell something's going on opens the door for this deluge of pain versus, so how you doing? And they'll walk around and look at everything a little bit first before they jump into that deluge sometimes. So I think it's that gentle, very fine line
Yeah.
of that naming process and thinking know what we see versus being curious about what we see to find out the truth of it. Sometimes this means it hurts. Sometimes this means it tickles. It just
Mm.
depends on the lens.
Oh, that's great. I think the key is to be your authentic self, isn't it? To really know your authentic self. Some of us are really skilled in um, using healing words. We're very, very skilled in that. There's a certain emotional intelligence that some have that others don't. And those who have it really have a gift. And um, but not everybody has it. But if you're being your authentic self and you're coming from a loving place, that's really all you need. It's really all you need. So I totally understand what Cindy was sharing, and I really appreciate her authentic sharing because, and I think she's right actually, and I can step back and say, would it have been better if I had just said, "So how are you feeling?" You know, and sometimes I'll say, "How does the morning find you?" Which is allows the other person the opportunity to get in touch with themselves and then share or not share as they wish. So that was that was very good. I appreciate that. Yeah. Now I'm going to move us on. Um, I'm going to move us on. Uh, Paragraph 4 really just counsels you not to see yourself as giving anybody anything they don't have when you are taking the healing role, and not also to go in as a receiver. We go in hoping to get something from the healer that we don't have, which is also something to be mindful of. We need to go in knowing that we are already whole, that they're already whole, but there may be something to be shared that's healing. Because you can't heal unless you start from the basis of equality and already being healed. The body is what it is, but the mind, as Vinnie Tolman said, what goes on between these two temples is already a holy temple, right? It's already a holy temple. And the healing is recognizing that. And so paragraph 5, this is so much, it's kind of tricky because this is so much for Helen and Bill. Because the question then might come up, well, what happens when an unhealed healer actually does heal somebody? Like what happens when an oncologist heals a cancer patient, even though the oncologist isn't a healed healer themselves. And paragraph 5 explains it. It basically says there's a coincidence where the healer may not be healed, but truly wants to heal. And that one that needs healing really wants to doesn't know that they're already healed, but really genuinely wants to be healed. And there's a confluence there, and it's called a coincidence. It says, and if you look at sentence 5 in paragraph 5, this is coincidental because the healer may not be experiencing himself as truly helpful at the time, and the belief that he is in the mind of another helps them. So there's a meeting between the unhealed healer and the desire to be helpful and the person who truly wants healing, even if they don't know what it is. But the Course says this is inconsistent healing. And so it's telling Helen and Bill, sometimes you may succeed in your healing, but it's not for the reasons that you think. You just got lucky. You know, it's just that these two things happened. It's almost like you had a vector, you met in the center of the two circles, and that's where the healing took place. Mel.
Oh, thanks. Hi, everyone. That just made me recognize that ultimately seeing that there's nothing to heal. There's actually nothing to heal. And so um I don't know where I was going with that. So okay, because yeah, if you're trying to heal something, then the person might be healed the one time, but then they'll probably get sick again, and it'll happen again and again and again. But to be ultimate healed once and for all, you have to recognize who you truly are. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then whatever happens with the body is what happens, you know.
Yeah.
Every healed healer eventually dies. The body dies. So the body is built to decay. That's what it does, right? It's just doing its job.
But if you don't weight it down as being who you are with all that energy, if you can then it's not so burdensome and so liberating.
Yeah. It's just having the experience, even though it may be unpleasant to the body, it's having the experience.
Mm.
So that's paragraph 5 says, well, what happens when the magic works? Does that mean it actually works? No, it means there was a confluence of intention there, right?
I think there are times too that the healer maybe can only, for their lack of healing within themselves, can only get the other person to a certain point. I've actually been able to witness that with two people that I sat with and witness of, and that unhealed healer could only go so far. And all of a sudden, it became this thing of it was the person that they were working with's fault that they weren't healing. In the meantime, that person was realizing, oh, wait, I'm so much more than this person sees me as. I'm so much more than this person is trying to convince me and actually kind of just jumped over and made the choice that I love you. Thank you for getting me where I am, but I'm going on.
You know, Lonnie, that is that is a really great observation, because the next paragraph advises the healer, the physician, that even when they've succeeded in healing someone, if the egoic mind takes credit for it, then
Boom.
it will cause confusion in the patient. It will cause conflict, right? And that conflict comes from not really knowing where the healing took place,
Mhm.
right?
And also sometimes being able to recognize the inauthenticity of the healer.
Yes, yes. And so that was a great segue. So paragraph 7, which I think we should start on maybe next week. Maybe we'll do a little bit of that in the next 4 minutes. Now we start coming into the non-dual message. So the first 7 paragraphs really told Helen and Bill the unhealed healer cannot heal. Magic sometimes seems to work, but it doesn't because it's inconsistent. When it does seem to work, it's because you've had a convergence of intention. But if you take that magic as being yours through the egoic mind, you will just further the conflict and further the confusion. So now it goes into the non-dual message. And I just want us to look at paragraph 7, because it says, can anything of God not be for all and always? Boom. Can anything of God not be for all and always? Right? Love is incapable of any exceptions. And then it gets into telling us, if you have fear, then that will get in the way. The fearful healer is a contradiction in terms, right? So if you're going in, even if your desire to heal is genuine, give the healing to the one. Connect with the one. Connect with the non-dual. Join with that one love, one allness that you are, and then let that do what it's going to do. Take no credit for it, have 100% trust, and let it be what it's going to be. That's basically what paragraph is saying. Paragraph 7 is saying. Fear always makes exceptions, healing never does. Fear produces dissociation because it induces separation, but healing always induces integration because it proceeds from harmony. So if you go in knowing that the harmony is already present, and this is what we learned last week, the healer reminds the patient that she or he is already healed. That's what we learned last week. Right? No matter what it looks like on the outside, the healer remembers that the healing is already present and brings and inspires. Remember, it was inspires the patient to remember and to remember that they are already inspired through their own self. Right?
And that's what happened between you and Cindy in that conversation.
Indeed. Indeed. Cindy and I are great teachers for each other. We always have been. Always, always, always. Oh my goodness. So paragraph 8 through 12 is really fun reading. We'll start on paragraph 8. It is 100% non-dual message about healing. So it takes us into what healing truly is, and that's where we'll start next week. So anybody have any closing thoughts or comments? Go for it, May.
I was just going to reiterate to have all give all to all.
It's so true. Yes, yes.
And all means all.
It means all, no exceptions. Empty yourself completely. Empty yourself completely. That's the meaning of come with wholly empty hands, right? Just empty yourself, right? Because you can't be fulfilled unless you're empty. It's such a paradox, but it's so true. So we'll see you next week, and thank you for joining. I'll read our closing prayer. So come, whoever you are, wanderer, fire worshiper, lover of leaving. This is not a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter that you have broken your vows 1,000 times. Still come, and yet again. So we'll see you next week. Still come. Well, actually, we'll see you tomorrow at 10, and we'll do some reading with Paul. Mwah. Enjoy your evening. Love us, I do.